7 reasons your accountant extended your tax return. Your accountant extended your tax return too? It isn't due yet. 2 types of deadlines: payment deadlines and filing deadlines. Everyone gets an automatic extension of time to file to October 15th. That's the only filing deadline that really matters. But your tax payments should be made by April.
But how will I ever know how much tax is due unless I file my tax return?
Planning. I'll let you in on a secret. That tax is actually due in the year you accrue it. If you wait until April to pay it, you may already be paying penalties and interest. Worst case, your accountant runs a quick projection for you before April 15th. But the better thing to do, plan with your tax pro before the year is over, when you can actually still make decisions that impact that tax year. It could save you money.
Oh, I like that.
Oftentimes when tax planning, you have the flexibility to shift income and deductions between tax years. This is especially true if you own a business, and there's potentially a pile of money to be saved by optimizing this. For example, let's say you run a business and you just had a banner year. Congratulations, business is great, and as a result, Uncle Sam just took you to the cleaners.
Fiddlesticks! I worked hard for that money.
But what will next year bring? Maybe you're selling a property next year and your tax rate will be sky high, or business will be down and you'll have a lower marginal tax rate. For a host of reasons, you may want to shift income and deductions between years. And when it comes to deciding when to file, when will you know more about what the following tax year looks like? Yes, when you wait to file, you've got a much better picture of what your next tax year looks like, which oftentimes impacts the decision you make on your current year filing and can yield some real savings.
My mother told me if I extend, it increases the risk of audit.
That isn't.
Your tax return goes into a special pool. It's like the naughty list.
There isn't a naughty list.
There's an IRS office at Guantanamo Bay. And if you extend,
I'm gonna stop you there. When you file doesn't impact your audit risk. We can see that from the IRS statistics. Some tax pros think it may actually decrease the risk. Hard to say for sure, but we can definitely see it doesn't increase the risk. My take, early in the filing season, you'll often get things like corrected 1099s. Many rules and filing forms are still being finalized. And if you push to file early, there's probably a higher risk of triggering a notice because things are still changing. Which leads us to, it's a bad idea. Let's run through all the reasons why April 15th has become an unrealistic target. Corrected bank forms. Used to be you had everything from the bank and your brokerage statements in early February, and that was it. These days, that first brokerage statement you get, it's oftentimes like, hey, here you go, but this is definitely gonna change. It's commonplace for these to be corrected well into March. And this year, a number of banks were even correcting them into April. New rules. This is gonna sound wild, but believe it or not, it's commonplace for major aspects of the tax rules to be unclear well into filing season. Oftentimes we're waiting on guidance from the IRS or from state and local jurisdictions, and the reality is we don't know when that guidance is coming or if it ever even will. And when these changes impact you, the more time we have to wait for that guidance, the more likely we'll file your return correctly. Software updates. This is especially true for state and local, but when tax forms are issued, software companies have to interpret how these forms need to be completed, and they don't always get it right on the first try. Oftentimes how the forms should be completed is subject to interpretation. And if the tax jurisdiction doesn't agree with how it was done, they're gonna send you a nasty gram and create a bunch more work.
This seems like a lot of shit to pack into a few months of the year.
Yeah, that's right. And that leads us into, really, it's bad business. Somewhere in the spring there, as we're waiting on rules and forms and software updates, we're supposed to educate ourselves on the rules that were just issued while still meeting with clients.
Oh, I do enjoy the intake meeting.
And getting all the work done by April 15th? If it's now very difficult to file a correct return in February and risky business in March, how's your accountant gonna build a business around filing returns for 6 weeks of the year? That's not corporate greed or money grubbing accountants. It's just the state of the tax system. Nobody can make a living doing that and are especially unwilling to when it's not even in your best interest to file by April. You know that one time a year when your accountant sends you your tax returns and you're like,
okay, 2021 tax return, let's take a look. Oh, this is a lot of pages. I don't know what this means. Well, it's probably right.
Imagine doing that, scrutinizing every page, every box of those returns for 3 months on end, 60 to 80 to 100 hours a week, and that's all you do, all day. In mid-April, do you think that person's in a good place?
But I sent cookies. That will do the trick, right?
By April, your accountant has taken more performance-enhancing drugs than an early 2000s baseball player, and what was once a razor-sharp, keen mind is now a hollowed-out husk of a human being who just wants to get past the deadline without a major medical event. Last, the question of when you file has become strategic, and as much as this may sound like tax pro propaganda, if your pro is taking the time to consider what's best for you and pushing back against the social norm that law-abiding citizens file returns by April 15th, it probably means they're giving your tax situation the love and attention it deserves. At the end of the day, are you whispering the secrets out of the gray area of that little FAQ or tax ruling that just came out? No, of course not. That would be weird.
No, I don't enjoy that.
When those little nuances impact how and when you should file, it's your tax pro that ought to take the lead on that decision, right? So whether you got your information to them on January 1st or not, it isn't a question of,
so how long will it take you to prepare my tax return? Tell me.
It's a question of when is the right time to file. There is very rarely anything to be gained by filing early, but very often, especially in today's tax environment, when you wait to file, your tax pro has higher quality information at their fingertips. That can mean tax savings to you and less risk of an audit or notice. So, all that being considered, how can you make sure your tax pro is making the most of your tax situation and that you're getting their full undivided attention? The secret? If you're reaching out to them during tax season, it's already too late. Reach out to them during the tax year, before that year is up. You've got more flexibility to be strategic, and you can figure out what you owe during the year, so there's no payments to be made the following April. This minimizes penalties and interest, and when you plan with your accountant outside of busy season, you're ensuring they're able to give your work the love and attention it deserves. Now, are you gonna have to pay your tax pro more money to do tax planning during the year? Probably, but here's the thing. Most people will spend more money during their lives on taxes than anything else. Optimizing to spend as little as possible on your tax pro, 9 times out of 10 means paying more tax. So think of your professional fees as the tax you pay plus your professional fees. Is it more work to plan and optimize? Yeah, but your tax pro's job is to identify the areas where taking the time to plan is worth doing, where it will yield greater tax savings than what you'll have to pay them to do the work.
So don't bother with them during tax season.
I mean, just do it before busy season. You're not gonna get their best work during busy season.
And pay them lots of money?
You will pay for tax planning, but you're doing it to save tax.
Pay my tax during the year, so that on the April 15th tax deadline,
yep, it doesn't matter then because you've already paid.
And file my return after April?
Get all your info to your tax pro, but let them decide when the right time is to file. They're the tax pro, that's what you're paying them for.
And if they put me on the naughty list?
There isn't a naughty list.
But I saw on TikTok there's a special task force in Guantanamo Bay. And all you need to do is change your W-4 to be exempt. And we will defund the federal government. Let me find it for you. Oh, that's a clever dance. That is a clever dance. It's right here, hang on.
Baby kitty, where's baby kitty? Oh, she's right there. Bring baby kitty over.
That's a good kitty. Yes. I wish I could do a good S whistle. So, there is a naughty list. You're not on the naughty list, are you? Okay. Oh, look at how cute you are, typing on a keyboard like a person. So long.
By the way, 14,000 views on that stupid tax resolution one. And holy TikTok comments? Yikes.
That's a clever dance. It's right here. Hang on a second. He's just going to give the man gas money? Look at that, he got his wallet out. I'm uncomfortable. This is going to ruin my algorithm. That is quite funny. What was I doing?